Let's start by getting to know existentialism. Out of all the educational philosophies we look at, this one is probably the most personal. Most philosophies focus on what to teach or how to teach it. But existentialism steps back and asks a much bigger question. Who is this person actually becoming? The ideas come from thinkers like Søren Kierkegaard, Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, and Martin Heidegger, who all spent their lives wrestling with what it really means to live a genuine, meaningful human life. Here is the core idea in plain terms. Jean-Paul Sartre famously said that existence comes before essence. What he meant is simple. Nobody is born already programmed to be a certain kind of person. We become who we are through the choices we make and the things we commit to. When we apply that thinking to education, the job of school is not to mass-produce one type of student. Instead, it should give every learner the space and support to figure out who they truly are. Maxine Greene built on this idea and spent decades showing how it could shape real classrooms in a deep and creative way. Let's look at the values that hold existentialist education together. The first is freedom of choice. We are free, and that freedom always comes with the responsibility for what we choose. The second is the authentic self, which means really knowing who you are and refusing to just go along with the crowd. The third is creativity and expression. Maxine Greene argued that art, writing, music, and theater wake up the imagination and let students see life as it could be, not just as it is. The fourth is responsibility, because being free also means being accountable to ourselves and to the people around us. Nell Noddings later added that genuine care for each learner is a key part of this picture too. These are the everyday beliefs that come out of existentialist thinking. Every learner is one of a kind, so education should honor that and not flatten everyone into the same shape. When students choose learning that actually matters to them, they go much deeper. Teachers act more like mentors here, listening and creating space rather than telling students who they should be. Feelings, identity, relationships, and even the fear that life might feel empty are not distractions. They are part of being human, so they belong in the classroom. And the final aim is simple. Help young people find their own voice and live with intention. Van Cleve Morris was one of the first to lay all of this out as a clear educational framework, pointing out how schools often quietly push conformity instead of encouraging students to become themselves. Now let's bring it down to earth and look at what this looks like in a real classroom. Students might pick their own books, texts that actually speak to their lives. They might keep a reflective journal because regular private writing builds self-awareness and the habit of an examined life. Creative projects like art, poetry, film, and personal essays let them express themselves in ways a standard worksheet never could. Dialogue circles give space for open conversations about meaning, identity, and purpose, where there is no single right answer. Maxine Greene described this kind of classroom as a place of real human encounter, where students and teachers meet as people, not as roles in a script. She borrowed Martin Buber's idea that we can either treat someone as a thing or meet them as a real person, and existentialist teaching aims firmly for the second. To wrap up, here is the big takeaway. Existentialism pushes education to ask the deepest question of all. Who is this young person becoming? Knowledge and skills matter, of course, but they are not the whole point. School should also help students discover their own voice, their own values, and their own honest way of being in the world. Sartre put it sharply when he said we are condemned to be free, meaning there is no escape from having to choose who we are. In a time when social media and algorithms constantly push people to perform a polished version of themselves, this message feels more important than ever. To close, here are the main academic works that sit behind everything we have just discussed, all written up in standard APA format. Think of these references as a starting point for further reading rather than the end of the conversation. If a particular idea caught your attention, going back to the original author is the best way to deepen your understanding. Reading the original thinkers in their own words is also a great way to prepare for professional education exams, where these names sometimes come up directly.